It's nice to see you. Welcome to Music at Noon. On a warm day, thank you for coming out today. And I'm glad you will be able to hear our two cellists today, Jia-mo Chen and Vivian Zhu, and a pianist with the beautiful name of Aida, Elkhanzade. Our program needs to be augmented, so there is a middle piece with the title of Prayer, composed by David Popper. 3 pieces on your program. And if you would please hold your applause until the end of the last movement of each section. Our final piece is composed by Masatoshi Mitsumoto. You will meet him after the music has been played. And I will tell you a little more about him before the piece starts. So you can look forward to that. At this moment in time, let's invite Vivian Zhu and Jia-mo Chen to the upper platform and listen to Luigi Boccherini. Please give them a warm welcome.
Thank you so much for coming out today. I know it's not the perfect temperature, but if you're hoping to get here for free AC, sorry. But anyway, we have a great program today. This is Vivian Zhu. The reason why I invited her today to play with me because she was one of my first students, and she studied with me when she was 7 years old. Came to my studio as a little girl, and and she studied me for like 7 years, 6-7 years, right? 6-7 years, something like that. So and now she's going to attend Stanford University next semester. So it's my honor to play with my student, and I'm very proud of her. I also want to express my gratitude for Aida for playing this concert with me. For those of you who don't know, this piece I had a genuine reason, the pianist, to play with me originally. And for some reason, every time we are about to approach a concert, there's some issue coming up like 3 months before. And this is finally we got to play this piece. So I asked Aida if she can jump in. Without seeing the music, she's like, okay. Oh, I told her this is going to be hard. She's like, okay. So I'm really, really grateful, and she does such a beautiful job. You'll hear it. And after I play this prayer by Popper, Brad will talk a little bit about Masatoshi's piece.
very beautiful Jia-mo and Aida. Jia-mo is the person who introduced me to the music of David Popper, because when I first heard it, I said to myself, how come I don't know about David Popper? And he was, at that concert, Jia-mo had played like 10 pieces, and they were all extraordinary, both for my head and for my heart. And it reminds me a little bit about Brahms, but the reason we probably don't know about David Popper is because his signature is not as strong as Brahms. So thank you for that beautiful music. And now...
Sorry, Brad. May I just add one note?
Oh, please do.
So, Popper and Brahms taught at the same music school in Budapest. So they were actually across from the hallway from each other. Brahms and Popper.
Thank you.
Yeah, so in one faculty party, so Brahms called Popper, my dear composer friend David Popper. And Popper couldn't sleep for 3 nights because he was called the composer by Brahms. So he was very excited. Okay, that'll be all.
Well, there you go. My intuition is working again. Thank you for that. It brings me great pleasure to introduce you to the music of Masatoshi Mitsumoto, and we will get to know him a little better after the piece after his suite of music is played. I had a lovely conversation with Masatoshi before the concert started. I had never met him before. And he gave me a piece of paper that had notes about the program that he asked me to read. So the final piece on your program is entitled Pierre and Luce. That's the name of 2 young people who were in love with each other, who were killed after only a few months of their engagement, Pierre and Luce. And then Matsumoshi was very moved by the novel that was written by the French author Romain Rolland. In 1918, he wrote that. His novel probably about World War I. So our composer here today, Masatoshi, wrote this suite in 2015. He wrote it for some old friends of his in Zurich, Switzerland. And it's his impression of the novel that I just mentioned. It's a story about 2 young people, Pierre and Luce, who met and fell in love, and in just 2 months they would become victims of a German long-range siege gun called a Paris gun in World War I. Rolland wrote the book after an actual incident that shelled a church in Paris, killing 91 people and wounding 68. Rolland was a pacifist and a committed anti-war activist. And so this becomes appropriate for what's going on in the world today, because our composer, Masatoshi, was thinking of what's going on in the world today, the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza. Human history is filled with war, and innocent people are always killed. As you can see, the piece has 6 movements, and my twin brother Greg has helped me to translate the movements that I didn't understand. Well, we know what the first one means. Movement 1, prolonged. Movement 2, you probably can see it's in the subway. Movement 3, the young lovers. Movement 4, face to face. Movement 5, just like it sounds, pause. And movement 6, epilogue, the plaza or the square. Please welcome Jia-mo Chen and Aida Elkhanzade. Stay here, please. We're not done with you yet. We're not done with you. After 9 years of waiting to have that piece played, this is the world premiere. This was the world premiere. Today's performance is the West Coast premiere. Fine-tuning it here. I'll get it. That's good enough. So I was moved by that. It reminded me a little bit of the depth of change of emotion at Shostakovich. Do you know what I refer to? Does that, understand some of Shostakovich's work can be incredibly depressing and disturbing, followed by a lot of movement and life. But anyway, I mean, I've got a lot of things to say, and I don't have much time to say it. But of course, I didn't know your music, but it worked for me the way they played it. It worked for me very well. And I forgot to tell you that he's sometimes called Masa, is his nickname, Masatoshi. My tears are not allowing me to see the words here. Mitsumoto, close. You're local, yes. Yes, you live in Sacramento? Yes. But I forgot to tell you, though, that like Jia-mo, Masa is a cellist, a professional cellist. He was a studio musician, recording for probably some famous things that have done in Southern California, right? Yes, and also orchestra. You were in orchestras, I think, weren't you? Yes. So he was a professional cellist, and now he's devoting himself to composition. And so you said you were moved by the novel, the book that you read. You were moved to write the piece of music because it was such a good novel that Roland wrote. And so your piece, I'm sorry?
My message as anti-war, because it's always innocent people who get to become the victims, yeah. And throughout the history, it's like the history of wars all the time.
We never learn.
Never learn. It's sad, yeah.
And then World War II, which you remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was a kid.
You were a small child then, and now Ukraine and Gaza, etc., etc. So your tribute to the sadness of war is well received in our emotion. It certainly is in mine, and beautifully played with the nuance so much. So one more round of applause, please. And one more acknowledgement, please. Vivian, come up here so we can thank you again for your amazing synchronous playing. I have to be careful how I use my language because I'm not trying to say anything that I shouldn't, but when you have a student like this, Jia-mo, of course it brings great pleasure in your life, and that's why you are happy to be a teacher, isn't it, when you have a student like Vivian. But I was mentioning to my twin brother, I said, I'm amazed how synchronous the sound is. It sounds like we have two Vivians or two Jia-mo Chens playing at the same time. And that's a good thing. We want more of you. So I see the smile on your face, and Aida, you had some hard work to do. Masa made you work pretty hard, didn't he? So beautiful concert, nice, beautifully played, lots of variety, and to actually have the composer of music that we admire in our midst, what a pleasure that is. Please come back again. Please write more and allow us to play your music again sometime. Thank you. One final applause and we'll be out of here. Next week, there is more than meets the eye. It is not just flutist Chris Palmer and friends, it's pianist, organist Patricia Grimm. It is tenor, yes, that's the singer, tenor Bruce Southard. Come next week and hear some Bach and more. See you then. Bye for now.
Are you thinking he didn't have in mind? I think previous cellist did it. The previous cellist played it. Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. Fast parallel octaves that are all coming together. This is a perfect performance. Or more. Yeah. So I don't know if we've only been played one time before. Well, yes, I think this is only just how the times. There's so much great music and we only have so much time, right? Yeah. Our program is. Can you take one of me? When we want us to go to Westminster with the music in there. So you want this to join the gym? So you don't want to give it to me, you want to give it to the office? Because this is only music. Just go through the door and fill the light. Unless you don't want to do it, I'll do it for you. Thank you very much.
It's free. I had to see how old you were because you said you student. Did you marry a student? Is that what you said? I thought you said that. I thought you married her. I was going to say, you robbed the cradle, but you're young.
Oh, no, I'm not that young.
Oh, you're 50.
I'm not as young.
Are you 50? 40? I'm 69. So you're young. Thank you. You're well behind the ear.
Well behind the ear.
Thank you.
Your lovely mother, brought me here. I'm a teacher with me teach together at the same